Hi everyone, welcome back to The Shelves Have Eyes. I'm Phantom, and today we will be doing a review and unboxing of Age of the Prime's Aerialbot Silverbolt, a leader class figure, commander class figure, and the central component for Superion. As you can see by this fisheye lens that I am forced to use to get all of Superion's box into frame, this is currently what my collection room looks like. I have 3 main central shelves and 2 flanking, just like kind of garage vinyl shelves that are filled with nothing but Transformers in boxes that I have not unboxed yet. Still haven't sorted these by line yet, but they're at least not in boxes packed away in a garage or a crawl space. They are now displayed on shelves, more or less intact. I mean, there are a lot of accessories that were just migrated down to the bottoms of boxes, so I have to do some serious cataloging to see what goes with what, or what goes with whom. But this is what it looks like right now, and this is where I'll be doing almost all of my filming. So, in any case, getting back to Silverbolt. Silverbolt is the leader of the Aerialbots, and he is the single most characterized Aerialbot. He is a little bit more interesting. He is afraid of heights, and he does not really want to be leader of the Aerialbots. The fact that he is afraid of heights is very interesting, simply because in G1 he was a Concorde, the first supersonic jet. I don't know why somebody who doesn't like flying and doesn't like heights would be an Aerialbot, but that's something that really was never delved into too deeply in the show, and I don't even think it was addressed directly in the comic, but I don't think anyone ever came up with an origin for his fear, only that, characters were making fun of him for having that fear, and, being the leader of the Aerialbots. But in any case, this is the box. It comes with a very nice bit of new artwork, and then a depiction of the other 2 Aerialbots that were released at the time Silverbolt was, flying over presumably Iacon. It is the 3rd of 5 parts of Superion. He transforms in 44 steps. On the side of the box, we have, once again, the artwork of Superion. On this side of the box, we have another part of the Well of All Sparks mural. In this case, it looks like this is Alchemist Prime, I want to say, or Micronus Prime. No, not Micronus Prime. Wait a minute, is that Micronus Prime? No, not Micronus Prime. That is Alchemist Prime. And, well, he's holding the Enigma of Combination, but who is that supposed to be? Amalgamus? No, we saw Amalgamus. Hold on a second, let's take a look here. So here is the full artwork for the Well of All Sparks mural, and let's just see if we can figure out who that is. So that is clearly Prima, Vector Prime, Alpha Trion, Solus, Micronus, Alchemist, Onyx, Amalgamus, Quintus, Liege Maximo, the Fallen, Megatronus, Optimus Prime, the Arisen, the 13th. But who the hell is that? Who is that supposed to be? What am I missing here? What am I missing here? Well, that explains why I don't recognize that. That's Nexus Prime, who looks absolutely nothing like the figure that they made. So, I guess that explains that. Micronus Prime doesn't really resemble the figure that they made. Amalgamus, I guess, more or less does, but there are significant design differences. Liege Maximo does not look like the toy that they made of him. Nexus Prime does not look like the toy they made of him. And if you really look at this picture of Star Optimus Prime, it's Power Master Optimus Prime. That is Power Master Optimus Prime's chest, Power Master Optimus Prime's legs. I mean, I know that they're passing it off as Star Optimus Prime, but that is definitely Power Master Optimus Prime, or God Jinrai's Power Master Engine. And Nexus looks absolutely nothing like that. And now Hasbro is telling us that we're not getting a standalone frame for Nexus, that he only attaches to Superion, so there is no way for there to be this particular face and configuration for a body. Great job, hasbro. In any case, moving on. Here on the back, we have a depiction of where Slingshot and Air Raid fit into the overall frame. And he does still transform into a Concorde-looking jet. I don't know if this is supposed to be a Concorde or whether it's just supposed to be a jet that looks like it. I mean, with that particular wing design, I don't see how it could be anything other than a Concorde. So here's the big sticking point, which is the fact that this introduces the combiner frame system to Transformers. Which I guess was, no, it doesn't introduce it because Menasor used the same system before that. Where the central robot comes with a whole bunch of kibble that in this case forms this battle wall and clips onto the back of his Concorde mode to make it larger. But then you transform the figure and it forms the skeletal arms and legs of the rest of the combiner, and then you just clip all the individual pieces into the mold. I can see it as being advantageous simply because it takes a lot of the flimsiness out of combiners. I mean, Combiner Wars, there was nothing but complaints about how floppy all of the limbs were, how they wouldn't stand up, how you couldn't pose them. And all of those complaints were correct. And it wasn't until Combiner Wars Devastator that we actually got a combiner that really was worth the name Combiner. Granted, the fact that they did Devastator for Studio Series 86 without this frame system also makes sense because we're talking about Scramble City style combiners here. So, Menasor, Scramble City. Superion, Scramble City. Upcoming Bruticus, Scramble City. Hopefully they'll release a Defensor. I would love to see a new Piranacon, because the Combiner Wars Piranacon was some kind of exclusive. What was it? eHobby exclusive or BBTS? I can't remember what it was, or Pulse, whatever it was. It was not readily available in stores, and I missed the chance to pre-order it and then therefore get it. So, which I still kind of kick myself about because I really like the Seacons. They were some of the first Transformers toys that I got. I think so. The very first Decepticon I ever got was Soundwave. I remember that. But in any case, I don't think this is that controversial. I think this is a good idea. I just hope that it integrates well, and it just doesn't seem like here's a bunch of crap, transform it into this wall gun embankment in what do you call that? Gun embankment? Gun emplacement? Whatever. And then it transforms into this. So let's open them up and let's see what we get. Okay, so inside the box we get Silverbolt himself, this enormous piece of thing. I mean, we know that it is the combiner frame, but I'm just trying to figure out how they... Anyway, huge piece of thing. Plastic. Very heavy. These two guns and instructions. So looking at the instructions real quick, just like every other Transformer that we've opened recently, there are some things that you need to do right out of the box that you need to do to make sure that this figure is in its correct configuration for vehicle mode. So in this case, it is flipping the head up and flipping the nose cone out, righting this wing feature. This clips on somewhere. Where does it clip on? This piece clips on underneath here. I know that for a fact. And then, I mean, I guess this is supposed to clip in here. So yeah, there's two little tabs on the underneath here that fit into slots, rather, that fit into two tabs on the other side of this enormous thing. And then there are two tabs that slide into slots underneath his wings as well. So when you combine him, what you're left with is this enormous flying fortress that in no way looks like an actual vehicle. I mean, originally Silverbolt was a Concorde. So the fact that they kind of make the nose cone able to be tilted down is a nice little touch. But what in God's name is this supposed to be? I mean, some kind of Cybertronian command center? I mean, it would make more sense if this was like the Xantium, the spaceship that Optimus and the Autobots used in Transformers Dark of the Moon. That's what it looks like, actually. It looks a lot like the Ark. Just chop off the front of Silverbolt and turn that into kind of like that horseshoe shape, and you essentially have the Ark. This is enormous, and it is extraordinarily heavy. This is worth full Commander class price based solely in the amount of plastic that is used in it. This is very heavy. I mean, it doesn't make a lick of sense what this is supposed to be. I mean, they really have kind of gone out of their way to make sure that it all fits together fairly nicely so that it all looks like it's supposed to sit together. I mean, there are still significant issues with it, but I mean, aside from Superion's hands just sticking out here, that's hidden enough for Transformers. This is really quite enormous and very heavy, and I confess that I am mildly impressed with it. I have no idea what else you could do with this in this mode. I mean, I don't know if you can park the other jets on top of it. I mean, not that that would be feasible. That would be a flying aircraft carrier, which I guess S.H.I.E.L.D.'s helicarrier makes sense because it is a aircraft carrier that then flies. This is a flying aircraft carrier. One might not understand exactly why you would even need this. The thing is it's kind of naff, but it's naff in a very G1 way, so I kind of really like it. It's so silly that it passes through being entirely implausible to just being kind of cool. I like it. Oddly enough, I like it. And, I mean, what I was talking about earlier, if you chop the front off of Silverbolt, you essentially do have the Ark. This is a very Ark-ish design for a ship. Could they maybe be thinking about making... No, that would just be silly. I was just thinking they could make the Lost Light from Transformers More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light. Just make it into an enormous Transformer, or like a Gestalt that you could separate into different parts. That would be interesting. If you could make something like this into the Lost Light and then sell it as a gift set or as a Titan, and then have individual pieces transform into IDW accurate versions of characters. It would be like all of them are triple changers because then they all combine to form a vehicle, almost. Because I would definitely pay for an IDW accurate Cyclonus and a Rung figure, an IDW accurate Hot Rod figure, Rodimus, a Drift, a Ratchet, an Ultra Magnus, a Tailgate. The Tailgate we're getting is good, but just like the Swerve, something's off about his head. It's a very G1 cartoon head, and that's just not what I'm looking for in a Tailgate or a Swerve. But anyway, I digressed long enough. I'm impressed with this. It's really cool, and I like the fact that his accessories fold into or become part of this main vehicle. I don't know if you're supposed to do this, but I think you're supposed to separate it like that so that it's more aerodynamic. I don't know. Whatever. So this is his flying battle fortress mode. Let's separate this. It separates really nicely, actually. It's not very difficult at all. Looking at the jet mode for Silverbolt, it's okay. It's fully passable. It's better than Blitzwing's jet mode, if that is saying anything. It's very chunky on the bottom, and you can clearly tell that this is Superion. But I've got nothing bad to say about it. It looks okay. It looks okay. I've got no problem with this. Now, this out of the box just was a huge, thick brick. But you're supposed to transform it into the, like, Palisade wall barrier. So, I mean, we'll look at that in a minute. But it also obviously is the frame for the rest of the Aerialbots. So I'm going to keep my opinions on a lot of this to myself, just because I realize that, you know, this is really just part of a whole. So we're going to put the flying fortress off to the side. And yeah, I mean, as a Concorde, this isn't bad. Yes, his nose does dip down like a real Concorde. It's not bad at all. It feels nice. I don't have any problems with it, really. So how about we transform this into robot mode and see what it looks like there, shall we? This is just for a comparison. This is my extraordinarily dirty and broken and incomplete G1 Silverbolt, which, when you pair them side by side, is really a nice close approximation of this particular figure. Proportion-wise, it's about the same. And even on the bottom, it kind of looks the same. So I'm kind of impressed with that. So here is Silverbolt in his robot mode. Not bad. It's actually a pretty good likeness of the character. It's good. It looks like he just walked off the cartoon, quite honestly. Yeah, he's a little plain. I mean, he could do with some repro labels. He does have ankle tilts, as you would expect any modern figure to have. And because of the weight of his back, essentially, they've given you these huge backstops just to make sure that he doesn't tip over, which is nice. The stability is very nice. Posing him is difficult when the wings are here, because no matter what you do, he's always going to keep hitting the wings with his arms. And also, the instructions said that these tabs right here are supposed to go into these holes, but I don't see that at all. Unless this is supposed to slide up, but I don't see how that's possible. Never mind, I'm an idiot. Never mind that. I'm an idiot. In any case, posability-wise, he has full range of articulation. He has side skirts so that he can really raise his legs forward if he needs to. He is a little bit on the heavy side, so yeah, he can do a split. I mean, I don't know why you would want him to do this, but he could do that. And because his ankle tilts lock into a straight position, he actually can do this. But yeah, so he's doing his morning calisthenics, I guess. In any case, it's not a bad likeness. It's suitably thick and boxy, which is really the first thing I think of when I think of Silverbolt. Is his original toy and even his animation model are quite boxy. If you don't want him to hold this gun, you can actually clip it into the back here. which is a nice little detail. I love it when transformed versions of characters can hold all of their accessories on their body. It's a nice little bit that I'm happy that they included. But yeah, all told, a very nice figure. I mean, it's kind of bare bones, and I mean, the problem with the Aerialbots is I don't really like them. I don't really think that they're an interesting group. They really didn't do that much in G1, despite making a lot of appearances. Like, I kind of dare anyone to give me anything of real importance that the Aerialbots did after War Dawn, which is their second appearance following the Key to Vector Sigma. I mean, the biggest claim to fame that they do is, as Superion, they spread the hate plague in The Return of Optimus Prime. But besides that, like, I find it very difficult to get excited about these characters because they really don't have any character. And I mean, I don't really have any close association with these characters. So, yeah, he looks nice. He looks nice. That's really all I can say is he looks nice. I mean, I don't know what else I can say, quite honestly. Looking at, I mean, yeah, he's missing his feet, but like, come on. That's what the original G1 looked like. I mean, that's worse than Razor Claw, G1 Razor Claw. In any case. He looks nice. He looks chunky. He looks appropriate. Just for, you know, comparison, here is Combiner Wars Silverbolt, who stands about a half a head taller than the Age of the Primes version. His proportions are all wrong. He's got an enormous block missing from both of his wings. He's just a mess. He's too much torso. I mean, the face looks okay, I guess. But his back is a mess. Nothing's clipping together correctly. It's just, this is a mess. This is a messy character. This is a messy figure. Coincidentally or not coincidentally enough, Superion's head fits into both of these figures' chests the exact same way. It's just with here, panels are hiding the fact that his antenna poke out. And this was not a great figure either, quite honestly. So, yeah, it's like, it's damning with faint praise, I guess. This is probably the best Silverbolt has ever looked and been in toy form. All right, so let's look at this base, shall we? So we've got this weird, twisty, bendy pretzel thing that forms some kind of gun. I'm going to assume that, yes, this is Superion's gun. I don't know how we're supposed to make this into the Palisade, really. But I'm going to assume that it's a series of interlocking pieces. Wow, they're really leveraging that. Okay, so this entire thing comes right off. Interesting. This is clearly Superion's waist and chest. So that's interesting. Okay. So once that's done, okay. So why would they... The instructions tell you to flip this out. But why would they tell you to flip that out if there's no purpose to that? Is that some kind of weird vestigial hangover or something? It doesn't look like this is a two-part hinge, so this is just a single-part hinge. So I'm just going to flip those back in so it sits straight, flat. Okay. Well, in any case... So this is the Palisade wall cover. I guess you would fold these wings in. And then Silverbolt can stand behind it and fire it somehow. So, yeah. I mean, thanks, I guess. It's not fantastic, but it's also not terrible. I mean, I guess they're at least getting some use out of this base, but yeah, I mean, this makes as much sense as a base as Power Master Optimus Prime's trailer. It's clearly just a body straddled. It's doing splits. There's a big gun. That's it. So I'm not buying it, but at least somebody thought enough about it that they were able to separate it out and make it look not good, but I guess okay. I mean, this is okay. This isn't terrible. I mean, it's not great, but it's also not terrible. But it is what it is. Okay, so we covered robot mode and alt mode. How about we open this enormous puzzle box and get set up for Superion, shall we? So here is Superion's shell completed, and I've got to say it's really, really nice. Say what you will about this move towards making combiners into just essentially skeletal frames that then you just add pieces to. I think this is a great idea, because never again will we get a floppy mess like Combiner Wars combiners. This is a genuinely good-looking representation of Superion, and I cannot wait to attach the Aerialbots to this. The face is extraordinarily detailed. It looks just like Superion from the show and the original toy. I like the faceplate. I don't like the mouth. I never have liked the mouth. These limbs have a full range of articulation. Well, if I actually put this on correctly, it would have a full range of articulation. They're good. This is quite good. And of course his gun, which you can do in a couple of different variations. The instructions say that you could do it this way, so that the back piece here locks into his forearm to really make sure that the gun stays where you want it. You can also flip that up and you can just freewheel it a little bit. It's a nice approximation of the original Superion gun, so I really have no problems with this whatsoever. So now we've got the frame all set. How about we put the two Aerialbots that we have already done So you essentially just fold air raid into this little brick piece. And then that brick piece apparently slides into here. Why isn't this going together? It's as together as it's going to get. There we go. And in shoving the jet into his foot, you push a little spring-loaded peg which closes this door. So it completes the transformation, essentially. This is not closing all the way, and I think for some strange reason I can't seem to push this all the way in. It feels like it's all the way in, and it looks like it's all the way in, but apparently it's not all the way in. But I'm not going to really belabor that point. I'm going to put his weapons onto his back here so that I don't lose track of them. And now for Slingshot, which means I have to actually take this arm assembly off. Wow, okay, that's really on there. There we go. So in order to do this, we need to essentially go backwards and put the arm back together the way that it is shown that it was originally, all together rather than exposing the joint. And then apparently so there are a series of pegs and slots, or rather slots and tabs, that line up with Slingshot. A little bit of a tight fit, I would say. And then essentially we break it open again. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Well, that didn't work. Wow! That was really together. And so there is Slingshot as Superion's arm. You know, all told, I think that this actually looks okay. We're doing this for the gestalt rather than for any other purpose, but even with the weight of this deluxe class figure, the arm stands out just fine because of ratcheted joints here. I'm not really quite sure that I dig the jets on the backside of his legs. I mean, I guess it's fine, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, well, you can't see it then. Suffice it to say, this is a fantastic figure, and I'm very happy that I got it. I believe I got this on sale at Target when they were having a, like, 40 or 60% off a single toy item. So I did not pay full Commander class price for him, of which I am pretty happy, actually. But this is great. This is great. This is the first combiner that I've done since Devastator, and Devastator was more of a intricate puzzle piece, whereas this is more lock them on. Figure out how to lock them on, and that's it. So I'm actually digging it. I like it a lot. So this is well worth your money. And I mean, even if you don't like the Aerialbots, it's a combiner, right? So here we are at the end, and I've got to say that I think that this is a very worthy toy. I'm really digging the frame system, because quite honestly, the biggest problem with any kind of Scramble City combiner in either the original or Combiner Wars was simply the fact that the connection points between the limbs and the main body, the torso, were always very finicky. I mean, for the Aerialbots, for the original Scramble City combiners, it was all down to these little flanged block pieces that you then had to shove other characters' heads into to actually get them to lock. And, I mean, let's be honest, it's going to be one of those situations where more often than not you would end up accidentally snapping the head off of your limbs because either they fell or you were posing it and just the brittle plastic of those square heads just snapped right off. And with Combiner Wars, the issue was that they firmed up that connection point between the limbs and the torso by making it huge. I'm going to use Alpha Bravo here as an example because he's right next to me. They beefed up this connection point so that it actually did have a ratcheting joint there. So chances were very slim that you would break this piece off in the combiner unless like a 1 in a million accident happened. But the problem was that by implementing that system, every single torso for every single limb needed to look the same. And that was a huge issue. At least in the first wave of Combiner Wars toys. I mean, after that, they started trying to hide it, especially in Power of the Primes. They started trying to hide this ratchet joint. But, I mean, it was very clear once you looked at the torso and the limbs that that was exactly where, you know, all of the plastic was going. Combiner Wars firmed up one of the issues. It fixed one of the issues from the G1 combiners, but just introduced a whole host of new ones. And that was the torso. The G1 Scramble City torsos were bricks. And, I mean, yeah, they weren't very articulated. They were really bricks. I mean, let's be entirely honest here. Superion really just goes like this. You really just put the torso like this, and then you clip the limbs onto the sides, and then that's really it. So the torso was always huge, blocky, and never really looked good in robot mode because its proportions were always so strange. For Combiner Wars, I mean, the idea is still exactly the same, but the problem with Combiner Wars was, yeah, they fixed this ratcheting connection point, but the problem was that the central piece, just like in G1, was always huge compared to the rest of them. I mean, this is a Voyager, I guess you would say it's a Voyager class, compared to a deluxe class. I mean, that's a huge difference. These are not teammates on the same grouping. This is like Optimus Prime talking to Bumblebee. And the problem with this is they tried to, I think it's just a case of over-engineering. In trying to make the torso, in trying to fix the issues with G1 Scramble City combiners, they just created an unstable torso system. There is not a single Combiner Wars gestalt that does not have horribly finicky, flimsy, floppy limbs. And the shoulders and the thighs are always moving. They never stay in place. They never look quite right because they're still really working off of the G1 Scramble City idea. So I think that it was a good idea for whoever is doing all this designing at Hasbro, especially for the Age of the Primes, to have kind of stepped back and thought outside the box for this. And in the hopes of being cartoon accurate, this is what they came up with. And I've got to say, it's a brilliant solution to the problem. It really is. It is chunky, it's heavy, it's posable. I'm not worried that, you know, parts are going to fall off or that it's going to become too heavy and these limbs will eventually break down and get loose. I mean, ratchets do get loose over time, but I mean, for non-constant use and wear, this is going to last a long time. Posability is there, the look is there. It really hits all of those boxes. It ticks every single box imaginable for a combiner. So if they're going to do Scramble City style combiners, this is the way that I would prefer them to do it. I mean, I've got problems with this system here of hiding the character behind the leg. I mean, I would imagine that that is exactly the same for Menasor, because Menasor is exactly the same style as this. You break the cars in half and put them on the arms, and then you plug the cars onto the back of the feet, the legs. And I realize that Bruticus has a different system, which actually, the proportions look weird in the stock photos. I don't know if it's going to look so weird when I actually see it. The lower feet, where the connection points are for the limbs, it just looks a little too squat. His proportions just seem a little too weird. His legs seem a little too short. But I will reserve judgment on that until I actually get a hold of Onslaught. Because, I mean, I think out of the Combaticons, I've got Blastoff and I've got Vortex. That's it. I didn't get Brawl, I didn't see him in stores, and I haven't seen Onslaught yet. So, I mean, that's pretty much everything. I think this is a worthy toy, and I'm digging everything about this. And I'd love to see them do Defensor. Or, oh, please, just give me a Piranacon already. I'm not going to shell out for the Generation Select Seacon set on the secondary market. Just give me a brand new release, please. In any case, thank you very much for joining me today on The Shelves Have Eyes. I want to thank every one of our wonderful subscribers for brings up to 200 subscribers and now more. And thank you very much for everyone who came over from Reddit for the Studio Series 86 Shockwave upgrade kit video. I hope that you are continuing to watch these, and I hope that you are still entertained and you find these informative. And I hope to keep this momentum going. This was a difficult video to make just because there were so many parts to it. I'm going to go back to doing some smaller figures after I finish with Superion. And I've got to start doing the actual 13 primes as well. That's the big thing that I'd really like to get up to speed on. I own all of them, like I said, with the exception of Vector Prime. Yes, Vector Prime. Oh my God. Yes, Vector Prime. But, I mean, I'd like to do the rest of them just in order to get them out of the boxes, really. But I've also got some other surprises in store, and I know that Chrissy is going to keep churning out her American Girl videos, and we're going to keep doing Miniverse. We've got a whole shelf full of unopened balls that we need to go through. I really need to finish the Lord of the Rings, because, I mean, as much as those are very hit or miss kind of train wrecks of projects, I've already started it, so I have to finish it. Otherwise, I will go insane. In any case, one would argue that I've already gone insane. But thank you very much for joining me. If you like this content and you would like to see more of it, please consider liking this video, commenting, maybe sharing it, and subscribing to the channel so you know when the next video drops. This video has gone on long enough. I have been Phantom. This has been The Shelves Have Eyes. Have a good night, y'all.
Transformers, defenders of truth, robots who fight in disguise. Transformers, when the battle is through, only the strong will survive. Till all I won, unknown soldiers fight.